Hi, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm Amira. I've lived in Canby now for almost 3 years, and today I'm speaking on behalf of myself. There have been moments where I have felt alone seeing this proclamation situation unfold. From my perspective as a queer Christian person, there aren't many of us here in Canby that I'm aware of. But knowing that this was denied due to personal beliefs has been difficult for me. I remember composing an email to you, Mayor, after our one-on-one back in June, and a colleague of mine that's from the LGBTQ community said, "Amira, I get what you're trying to say, but I think you're beating a dead horse with the mayor." And I told my colleague then, even if the Living Room, P-Flag, Canby Trans Alliance Group, Safe Club all went away today, I would still show up. This is the thing. I feel it is a dangerous message to prohibit folks' rights in the name of God. It pushes people who are desperately seeking spirituality away from God instead of seeking Him. It is a fact that it is up to each mayor to decide how proclamations are to be given, and I respect this. My struggle has been the constant passive, misleading, and avoidant behavior of the mayor. Where is this proclamation policy? Who is it being reviewed by? Will you, Mayor, come celebrate at our events with us? These are all questions that I have heard being asked time and time again with no real answers. The more I hear excuses, the more I see avoidance, the more I feel that you, Mayor, think that this is just going to go away. And I'm here to say that it won't. Recently, I spoke to the Canby youth that were at the drop-in on the 24th of February, and I asked them, do you want us to continue fighting for this proclamation that was denied last year? And the 4 Canby youth that were there said yes. One of them saying, it feels kind of like a slap in the face that this proclamation was denied. And another youth saying, standing like this, hello, I'm trans, yeah, I want you to keep fighting. And I said, calm down, I will. During the February 19th City Council meeting, I wasn't 100% sure if my pastor was going to be able to make it. When he spoke here that night, I was proud. When my transgender sister Joli spoke, I was proud. And when my other church sister Rhea sat in the crowd just to hold space with us, I was proud. You see, at Clackamas United Church of Christ, we welcome all and we love all people. And as the greeter, I have welcomed people who reek of alcohol. I have welcomed people who reek of marijuana. I have welcomed people who are homeless. I have welcomed a group of strippers. I have welcomed people in wheelchairs with service dogs, you name it. We welcome all with love. We don't judge your journey, and we accept folks for who they are. Mayor, I ask again and again and again, consider accepting the Transgender Day of Visibility proclamation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Esteemed Mayor Hodson, esteemed council members, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to come before you this evening, and thank you for all of the wonderful work that you do to make Canby a better place. I come to you as a pastor, as a leader in the Christian church, and I come to you as a citizen of the United States. In my capacity as a pastor and as a citizen, I stand with my transgender siblings in requesting that you adopt the Transgender Day of Visibility. Some Christians refer to the creation story in Genesis to say that God created male and female, and thus God did not create transgender people. In that story, we are told that God separated the light from the dark and the land from the sea. But we know that that is not the whole point of the story. Because even though God separated the light from the dark, we know that the dusk and the dawn exist. And even though God separated the land from the sea, we know that the marsh also exists. And even though God created male and female, we know that our transgender siblings also exist. Thank God for the beauty of creation, of light and dark, of dusk and dawn. Thank God for the beauty of land and sea and of the marsh. And thank God for the beauty of male and female. And thank God for the beauty of our transgender siblings. In fact, the Bible in the original languages never used the term transgender. And Jesus never spoke about the topic. But Jesus did say that the most important command in all of Scripture is to love God and to love our neighbors, all of our neighbors, including those of us who are transgender. Which leads me to why I am here as a citizen of the United States. The most important words ever written in a secular document are in our Constitution, and they say this: we the people. It is impossible to overstate the significance of those words. When those words were written in the 18th century, the term we the people meant people like me, white, land-owning males. But over time, the term has become more and more inclusive. We the people began to include black men. It began to include women. And one of the things I love about being part of we the people is that the more perfect union where we the people literally means all the people. And today, we have the opportunity to proclaim we the people includes our transgender siblings. Statistics show that if adults affirm our transgender children, that they have less of a risk of experiencing self-harm because they know that they are loved. Today, as a city, you can tell our transgender siblings that they are here, we know that they exist, and that they are loved. God bless you for your work to make this city a more perfect place and our country a more perfect union. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, I'm Mayor Hudson, council members. My name is Joli Shempert. Excuse me. I'm here to stand in solidarity with the Canby Transgender Alliance. I am queer and transgender, and I, as a teenager, attended the First Baptist Church School of Canby and the First Baptist Church and graduated high school there. I was a member of the Canby community, and once I took a job at Fred Meyer, and at church on Sunday, a sweet old lady rushed up to me to tell me, you shouldn't work for Fred Meyer because they give a lot of money to the homosexuals. And she pressed a pamphlet into my hands on that subject. Gay people were very visible in that cultural moment in the 90s, in the midst of the AIDS crisis and a fresh wave of activism for LGBT rights. And many in the conservative Christian community, my community, maybe some of your community, pushed hateful ballot measures to curtail LGBT rights. But at least I knew about the homosexuals, as our church always called them, if only to be taught to hate them, which is to hate myself. Transgender people were invisible during that time in my community. They existed, of course. I existed, but you wouldn't know it. Trans people hadn't yet gained enough notice in conservative rural Christendom to be actively, vocally hated. So it took me a long time to figure out who I am, to embrace my whole self. And when I think about what a transgender day of visibility could have meant to me back then, the wasted years that it could have saved, it breaks my heart. We're in the midst of a new cultural moment, one in which transgender people are finally being seen and heard and fighting anew for our rights. And in recognizing a Trans Day of Visibility, the City of Canby can state clearly that the most vulnerable of our community are welcome in our community. This may be a mere gesture, but it is not an empty gesture. It can mean the difference between life and death for an isolated trans person, and showing them that they are not alone. The fact that this simple proclamation is being met with such resistance is proof of how necessary it is. Many people do hate and fear us. The myth that gay and transgender people are dangerous predators and abusers is deeply embedded in our culture. But I'm here to tell you that while the Canby First Baptist Church School did harbor a sexual predator for many years, it was not me. My former principal and pastor was recently pled guilty to sexual abuse of a minor. And so believe me when I say that we are not the people in your community that you should be afraid of. So I'm returning to the town where I came of age to urge Canby to do better, to be better. I urge you to stand up for your beautiful, dazzling, courageous transgender siblings. Thank you.
Thank you, Joli.